Number 2, which I have pulled up here on Spotify because I want you guys to just... I want to talk about the album artwork to this, which I didn't discuss with Ghost, but the album artwork on their last album was also incredible. But somebody who did a 1980s disco synth remix of Dance Macabre off Ghost's new album. Yes, I remember that. Is Carpenter Brut, I think is how you say it. It's Brut or Brut. Apparently, I like stuff that I can't pronounce.
Does it have an umlaut over the U?
No, it doesn't.
Then it is Brut.
Yeah, okay. So this album is called Leather Teeth, and I have the album cover pulled up here.
We can show it here.
Yeah, just to show these guys now. It's marketed like it's the soundtrack to a horror movie from the 80s. There's even a tagline on it off to the side that said, "If he's stalking you, hell is the sweetest place to hide." And it says, "Original motion picture soundtrack composed and performed by Carpenter Brut." And here's the album cover that I'm going to pass, and I'll talk about it a little bit. It's... Where I'm at, apparently, musically this year is very rooted in synthesizers, and it's almost like dubstep EDM mixed with 80s synth music that also incorporates live instruments, too. Okay. There's a lot of guitar. There's live drums mixed with electronic drums, which is... I've seen that done before. That's actually not too surprising. It's a really neat thing that is going to be something that I'm going to transition into after we all get our albums listened to out. But the opening track, which is the title track, is incredible. Something that I've always noticed is a lot of the drops in dubstep or EDM are very much like breakdowns and heavier music. Mm-hmm. And there's a section in that song that's very much like that. The Cheerleader Effect, which is the second song, has... I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce this name. It's Christopher something that's sweet. It's the gentleman who sings for Ulver, who is a great band, does vocals on it. And there's also a feature on a song called Beware the Beast from Matt McNerney from a really neat band called Beast Milk, which does sort of...
Beast Milk?
Yeah. They've changed their name to Grave Pleasures now.
I like Beast Milk.
I liked Beast Milk, but their manager pointed out that every time he tried to Google them, it came up Breast Milk. So it's not a very good way to search for a band.
It's only one letter.
Anyway, their singer
Note
is on
to
it.
yourself, future musicians.
Which his voice and the style of Beast Milk is very late 80s, like almost Joy Division, like early punk type stuff. That's really neat. His feature on this album is interesting because the song itself plays more like 80s like hair metal band, and there's a lot of influence on that, especially in the guitar work, which is great on this entire album. Monday Hunt is probably my favorite. There's a lot of arpeggiated synths, just a lot of weird melodic changes on this album too that make it interesting. And it's a really neat album to me, and I've been listening to this guy or group, whatever you'd like to call it, in general. So that's my number 2 is Leather Teeth by Carpenter Brut.
Carpenter Brut. All right, cool.
All right.
Joel, let me see what I got here.
Take it away with your number 2.
Second one that I will be mentioning is by a band called Riverside. The album is called Eye of the Soundscape. It's actually a double album. And it is basically, except for the very first track on the album, which I believe is called Shine.
What genre is it?
It is progressive rock, I guess you could call it. But this album in particular is very much like experimental. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's all the first album. The first song has lyrics to it. The rest of it is instrumental, and it's like sounds. They found different ways to make interesting music. Like there's one song on the album that they do that has like mouth noise, like put throughout it, and then they've remixed it and done guitar and bass on top of it. It's very soaring, very Pink Floyd like. A lot of reverbs, heavy spaces. but it's electronica type music, but with authentic instruments, and there's piano and synths and everything. This was the last album they did, I believe, before their guitar player actually passed away. And then they just released another album this year. Riverside did. I'm gonna type it and see if I can find what it's called.
Their band Wasteland.
Wasteland.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Wasteland was the album they came out with this year, with after the guitar player had passed away. But I enjoy this album. This is an album that I will put on when I'm trying to get something done that doesn't involve me, like audio or video. If I'm trying to get on like recording or writing, or have to write something out, it's a very good album to get shit done to. I'll put myself up in my closet. I have my LED lights, strips that go around the door. I'll turn those on, turn this album on, let it play from start to finish. It's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. There's a full video of it on YouTube. They have the whole album, and I'll just put the whole thing on and start it. And I enjoy it so much. I'm gonna pull it up here and name some of the songs on there that I really like. Yeah, that came out in 2016.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I want to point out that they are a band that since the album Shrine of New Generation Slaves have adapted their sound a lot. They've kind of been doing this retro prog thing, which Opeth has been doing for a while. Steven Wilson has kind of always been doing it,
right?
Yeah,
but
they're very much. That's how I found out about them, was through Steven Wilson.
Yeah, so since then they've adapted their sound a lot.
Okay, so I guess I need to go back and listen to some of their way earlier stuff, because it's only this album. The album that came out before this one was called Love, Fear, and the Time Machine. That came out in 2015. Eye of the Soundscape was 2016. And Eye of the Soundscape isn't all new material. A lot of it is material that they had just written while out on the road, and they had just a bunch of really cool instrumental trippy songs. And like the song Eye of the Soundscape itself is 11 minutes long. No song is under 5 minutes. There's 8 minutes, 11 minutes, 10 minutes. There's a 12-minute song on here. And it's just a great, like, I love listening to it when I'm driving late at night. It's sometimes it can be a little spooky, but it's just good brain music, good thinking music. And so anytime I got to study or, figure some shit out, or, sit and work for a little while and just need to tune out, this is the album I go to. So,
sweet.
Yeah. So, Daniel's son, what you got?
You pass. All right. Number 2 for me is going to be Clairvoyant by the Contortionist. That album, it's an interesting change because there's not as much heaviness in the album. People are used to a lot of their heavier music, so they're really kind of being very experimental with it. It's after a long trip that they had in a cabin in Maine, and they were using LSD and kind of furthering their horizons to, I guess, try to find some inspiration.
Okay.
And it's a good album. The album kind of centers, the lyrics are centered around his girlfriend's loss of her mother and the separation that they had afterward because of her trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the themes in the song relate with some of my own experiences in life. So that's why it has a good impact on me, or such a significant impact on me.
Yeah, Joel's actually the one who showed me that album.
Yeah, I listened to that a year ago.
Yeah,
I listened to that a year ago.
It came out in 2017.
There's a part, I don't remember which song. There's a song I believe that has a part 1 on it.
It's monochrome passive. It's the passive. It's the passive.
The one where he's like, where he holds a note for a very, very long time, and it's like, I think the word is sleep. He's like,
yep, that's what he's singing about.
He's doing
his
like
girlfriend.
there's
his vibrato is insane.
Exactly. That always got me when I heard that. That blew me away.
Yeah. But they're one of my all-time favorite bands. I cannot add that to my list. I could not add that to my list.
I could. They were too close. I could not put them on there at all.
They almost made the cut.
I saw them on the Language tour when they opened for Tesseract a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw them at that tour as well.
Yeah, that was a really good show with Sky Harbor.
Y'all were at
and
the same concert?
Yep, we didn't even. That's funny.
Oh,
That's
wow, yeah.
Totally could have
We've
happened.
been to the same concerts before.
It was Sky Harbor and
Sky Harbor was good. They played at the
Era.
Was it the Metroplex, Centerplex?
No, it was at the Masquerade. Was that show? It was a great show. It was right before they tore it down. I think that might have
Era's
been.
another good one. I should have added them.
Yeah,
But I don't want to be
Oh, is
that guy.
that ERRAI?
yeah.
Their new albums are actually something to check out.
They did something with Tesseract, didn't they?
I don't know.
I
I
believe
believe was
they
the name of one of their live albums.
Oh, okay.
Was also the name.
Okay,
but
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, I've seen the
Quit doing that,
Contortionists
bands.
live. I think a total of 3 times now,
Okay.
and they've always been phenomenal. And they're just getting better.
Point you a little bit closer.
They're just getting better and better.
Go-
I keep slipping.
really.
Go down. Yeah, there you go.
I have a very funny story about them. At that show, during
I smoked weed with Robbie.
during
Oh, sorry, Robbie.
during their set, I had went to the bathroom where I took a leak next to James from Tesseract, who is unbelievably tall, and
How hung is he?
I didn't look because I didn't realize it was him
How hung
until
is he?
after that.
If you
Did you
realized
see
it was
his
him, you
dick?
would have looked.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
I'm not gonna lie. So I did wash my hands an awkward amount of time so I could just say hey to him before I left.
You got to be super nice. You got to make sure you're
Yeah.
not sweaty.
Yeah,
Big time.
I just shook his hand and thanked him for the music, and he thanked me for coming out. Awesome guy.
Your sounds make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Spencer Sotelo after a Periphery concert. And he was outside of the Masquerade, and I walked up to him. I was like, "Hey man, can I give you a hug?" And he was like, "Are you sweaty?" That was just his first remark back. "Are you sweaty?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm good." He's like, "Cool," because I just took a shower.
I smoked weed with the bass player for the Deer Hunter after I saw them with Coheed outside the Waffle House in Atlanta. Thank you, dude. You were awesome. You're never gonna see this, but if you do, awesome.
But where this
I
ties
met
into
Casey too. Anyway,
where this ties into the Contortionist really quick is I get back in the crowd and I tell one of my friends, "Hey, I just took a piss with the guitarist from Tesseract."
Did you hold his dick?
And yeah.
Oh, did my questions?
Yeah. Well, no, he was like, "But they're on stage," and I'm like, "Aaron, Tesseract hasn't played yet. This is the Contortionist." And Aaron goes,
Same band. They sound just the same.
and Aaron goes, "Oh, I thought this was Tesseract and they were just playing new stuff that I hadn't heard before."
dumbass. That's pretty funny.
All right, so I'll pass it off to Stu.
All right.
Number 3.
Something I've noticed, I'm growing slightly further away from just heavier music in general. I guess it's because I'm
So
don't
have
know,
I, sir.
less. Yeah.
So have I.
Less. I don't
We're
know.
old.
I'm fighting it.
Partially that, and it's just I'm not
How old are you,
as
Stu?
bitter. I'm 25.
Oh, you're not much older than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting to. I've been fighting that pushing away from it.
Yeah. Which another album that I will tell you, I believe it came out in actually like 2015, is an album called Forever by a gentleman who does everything himself. He's one of these one-man projects who is absolutely incredible. It's called Forever by Mystery Skulls. It's very
You showed me
catchy. Yeah, it's very catchy. He actually 2014 is when this came out. It's very dancey pop, EDM synth stuff, which is weird that I'm getting more into that. But the melody is fun, and something about the sound of like electronic stuff is really intriguing me lately. But it's incredibly catchy. It's almost like Justin Timberlake at times. That's a lot of what his vocals remind me
A
of.
lot of people are emulating him these days.
Yeah. This guy's voice reminds me a lot of it, but it starts off, the opening track Forever is very orchestral. It starts off really orchestral, and then with this staggered one bass note, and he incorporates actual instruments in his stuff a lot. I've been listening to the 2 albums that he has out now a lot. The second one is called One of Us. I'm just kind of group these together. This is something I've been listening to. But Paralyzed is really catchy. My favorite is a song called Ghost, which somebody had made a fan music video of. That I know there's a trend, isn't there?
Right.
That's very much like Scooby-Doo. I don't know if you've seen the video for that, but somebody animated it to where it's like Scooby-Doo.
Animated what?
The video for the song.
No.
That's where it's like a group of kids in a van that going into a haunted house. And it's very catchy.
Would have gotten away with it too.
A gentleman who's been popping up since 2013 when Daft Punk released Random Access Memory, a guitarist from the 80s who played with somebody called Chic. He was on Let's Dance by David Bowie with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay.
A guitarist by the name of Nile Rodgers played guitar on the songs Magic and Number One off this album. But yeah, Mystery Skulls, I'm just going to group both of those albums in together.
Sweet.
Very catchy.
Mystery Skulls.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see here what we have on the thing. Okay, yeah. So this is one that we, you and I both, and I just showed you recently. I'm gonna give a little backstory to this band. So here in Georgia, we have a Six Flags.
It's pronounced Georgia.
Georgia here in Georgia.
Georgia.
We have a Six Flags, and it was a Fright Fest during October.
Six Flags is a theme park.
Six Flags is a theme park, yes, much like your Disneylands or your Disney Worlds.
Your Narrowwind.
Yeah,
Narrowwinds.
Stuniversal Studios.
Universal Studios. That's right. Universal Studios Orlando. Universal Studios California. What else So we went to Six Flags and
Kush Gardens.
Kush Garden of Kush. So we went over there to Fright Fest during Halloween, and one of the places that we were walking past was this school bus that had been set up into like a haunted house. And for all the haunted houses, you had to pay like an extra fee. Once you were in the park, you had to pay an extra fee to get into the haunted house per haunted house.
That's fucked up. Six Flags.
We want more money.
So one of the places was a school bus that had lasers and fog coming out of it, and there was this song playing, and I heard a saxophone to some really cool synthy music, and it's sometimes a song just hits you, and you're like, I have to know who this is. Like sometimes I'll hear something, I was like, oh, that's cool, but this is one of those I'm like, no, this is really fucking good. So I got out the good old Soundhound and Shazammed it, and figured out that it was a band called The Midnight. The song was called Vampires. And The Midnight is a retro synthwave band. Come to find out, I hadn't really even heard of this genre. I'd heard some music, like Mark Mothersbaugh, the guy from Devo does music like that. He did the Thor Ragnarok soundtrack, which the main theme for Thor Ragnarok, if you haven't heard it, very, very good. The whole soundtrack's incredible. But like with the title card theme comes up, that's on my top 100
I prefer
songs
it with
of the
the
year.
Evangelion theme.
The Evangelion theme? Okay, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I discovered The Midnight, and they're just incredible. All of their albums, it seems they release instrumental versions of their albums too, or at least for this particular one, they have an instrumental version of Vampires, and then one that has lyrics, and I actually like the lyrical version. Their music videos are very cool, like almost animated style stuff, if you look them up on YouTube.
1980s anime though, like it has that old scratchiness to it.
Exactly, it almost looks like an AMV someone recorded, but it's new
like
stuff that's been made for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Midnight, the song Vampires off of Endless Summer was really, really good. That also has a song called Jason on it, which is very catchy. I mean, the good hooks, good montage music. If you're needing to get some shit done, throw on this album and you'll have it done in, like 30 seconds. You'll just flash from thing to thing, getting things done until you're like incredibly proficient at something. So check out The Midnight. Another song they have an album called Nocturnal. The main song off of that kind of sounds like a riff on the Terminator theme. It's like dun 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 dun. dun 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 dun.
Or Stranger Things.
Or Stranger Things. It has a kind of a Stranger Things. I mean, the music for Stranger Things is very similar to the music. So if you enjoy the score for Stranger Things, check out The Midnight.
Arpeggiated sense.
But the album will the music will forever be linked to Halloween for me, because that's just the time of year that I discovered it was in October. And so just like the leaves falling, and fall is my favorite time of year, and so that's probably one that'll go away for a little while, and during a certain time of year it'll bring it back out, you know. But I really enjoyed their music, and we had talked about covering it for a little while, and
I'd still like to do that.
I'd still absolutely like to do that. So.
In which has changed.
Right. The logistical things have changed recently. But yeah, the Midnight is incredible, and it's just two guys actually.
Yeah, the lyrics to that song are incredible.
To vampires?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are really cool.
Yeah. So, man, that's right.